In physics of dielectrics, today we are going to discuss energy in electric field. Let us consider we have to build up a system of charges. See this figure. In a given volume, let us say this is volume V, we want to create a charge system. And for this, let us suppose some external agent brings the charge separately in steps, or you can say step by step, from a large distance from this volume. That is, you can say theoretically that the charges are brought by the external agent from infinity in a step by step. And once a charge will be deposited in this volume, and then if further the external agent will bring the same kind of charge, definitely there will be a repulsion between the charge brought by the external agent and the charge already deposited or distributed in this volume V. So there will be a force of repulsion between them, and hence in against of that force of repulsion our external agent is bringing the charge in this volume. So definitely the external agent will have to do work in against of that external force, and whenever work is done in against of some force, definitely the energy is energy in fact appeared in the form of potential energy. So the work done by the external agent in building up this charge system, or you may say the to create the electric field, as whenever this charge system will be created, this system will produce electric field. And so you can say in assembling or in constituting this system of charges or in creating the electric field, this external agent does work, and that work done by the external agent actually appears in the form of potential energy in this volume V, or you can say this energy is actually distributed in the electric field produced by this charge system. And so that energy is called in fact energy in electric field. In fact, in this lecture our aim is to first of all find the expression for that energy which is distributed in electric field, and after knowing the expression for the electric field we will also find the expression for the density of energy. Density, when you say density of energy, it means the energy distributed in unit volume of the electric field. I would like to find that expression. That is in fact a most important problem. See here, we are just considering only the electrostatic condition, that we are considering only electric field, but at the same time there may be magnetic field also, but that is a separate problem. We study it in magnetostatics and electrodynamics. Now let us consider when a charge system is built up, then we consider two such charge systems. In this figure, this one is one charge system distributed in a volume, let us say V1, enclosed by a closed surface, and there is another charge system which is denoted by this symbol 2, and this is in fact these charges are in fact distributed in volume 2. In fact, these two systems may carry same nature of charges or may carry opposite nature of charges. In figure, just I have shown the similar charges, that is positive charges, but it may be negative charges, or in one distribution there may be positive charge and in another distribution that may be negative charge. Actually, these two systems will interact one another, and due to that interaction a potential energy will be developed. As you know, potential energy is simply energy of interaction, and since these static charge system in fact will interact one another electrostatically, So there will be electrostatic potential energy developed in this system or in the electric field produced by the systems. And our aim is to find that energy of interaction which will be distributed in the electric field. And for this, let us consider two elementary volumes. First elementary volume is dV1, inside this volume V1. See this figure. And the another elementary volume is in fact dV2 in the volume V2. And since these are elementary volumes, so they are just like points, and so we can define a unique distance between these two elementary volumes. Although in general you cannot define a unique separation between these two charge distributions because they are of finite size, but elementary volumes are just like points, so we consider that these two elementary volumes are separated from one another by a separation r. And inside this elementary volume dV1, let us say ρ1 is the volume charge density, and inside this elementary volume dV2, let us say ρ2 is the volume charge density. In this condition, if we consider that there is a charge dq1 distributed in the volume dv1, then what will be that dq1? You know, ρ1 is volume charge density. It means it is charge distributed in unit volume. So what will be the charge in volume dv1? That will be simply ρ1 into dv1, and that is in fact dq1. So dq1 is equal to ρ1 dv1, which is charge of first volume element. And similarly, as we have assumed that inside this volume element dv2, which is just like a point, the charge density is ρ2, so charge distributed in this elementary volume dv2 will be what? That will be simply ρ2 into dv2, and let us say that is equal to dq2. Now you can see these two elementary charges dq1 and dq2 are separated by a distance of r. dq1 and dq2, these are just like point charges, and they are separated by a distance r. So we can define the interaction energy between these two charges which arises due to the electrostatic interaction between these two charges dq1 and dq2. And we will use the electrostatic formula for the potential energy. So potential energy due to interaction between charges dq1 and dq2. What will be this interaction energy? If we consider that this energy is du, what will be this? You know, this is 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught dq1 into dq2 over r. This is a well-known formula for electrostatic potential energy. This energy has been taken positive because these two charges are of similar sign. And if we will substitute the value of dq1 and dq2 in terms of the volume charge densities, what will be our result? You can see this will be du equal to 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught ρ1 dv1 into ρ2 dv2 over r. This is actually the interaction energy or potential energy due to the interaction between these two elementary charges dq1 and dq2, which are in fact distributed in the volume elements dv1 and dv2. Now we can find simply the total interaction energy or mutual potential energy between the two volumes of charges, that is entire volume, that is the charges distributed in volume V1 and V2. So you can write mutual potential energy between two volumes of charges. And if we say this is U, then what will be this? This will be 1 over 2 into 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught integral over V1 integral over V2 rho 1 rho 2 dV1 dV2 over R. You know, as we know the potential energy arised between due to the interaction between these two elementary charges, and now we have to find the potential energy due to interaction between the entire charge systems. So we must integrate, and as here there are two volume elements, so the integration will be with respect to V1 and with respect to V2 2. But why this factor 1 by 2? Why we have used this factor 1 by 2? You can see whenever potential energy is defined, in fact it is defined for a pair of point charges. In fact, you can't define potential energy of a charge Q. We always define potential energy for a pair of charges. And you know, in summation and also in integration, definitely each pair must be counted only once, because we define the potential energy for a pair, so one pair must be counted once. So if we will not divide by this factor 2, then you are in fact defining potential energy for each point charges separately, but there should be potential energy due to the pair. So this factor 2 is used here. So I am, for your convenience, I am just writing this important fact. So you can say it is divided by 2. It is divided by 2 because in summation and hence in integration, in summation and hence in integration as well, each pair has to be counted, each pair has to be counted only once, and so we divide the result by 2. This is the reason. Now let us see this expression defined in equation 1, just I have mentioned here. Now in fact we want to express this expression for the potential energy in terms of the corresponding potential, or you can say electrostatic potential. Our aim is to express this expression, and for this let us consider to find the potential at the site of the volume element dV2 due to the charge distributed in volume V1. And you can say this is in fact the charge distributed in volume V1, and here is in fact the volume element which you say dV1, and this is in fact another volume element which is dV2, and the separation between these two volume elements is R. If we want to find the potential at the site or at the location of this volume element dV2 due to the charges distributed in this volume V1, how we can find it? First of all, find the potential at this position dV2 due to the charge distributed in the volume element dV1, because this is just like a point. So you can define it directly from Coulomb's law, and after integration for V1 we will get the total potential. So now you can say potential at the site of dV2 due to charges in dV1. If we denote it by d phi 2, what will be this? This is just like a point charge, and you know potential due to a point charge is what? That is simply 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught q by r. And so this will be 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught dq1 by r. In fact, this dq1 is the charge distributed in this volume element dv1. And you know this dq1 is what? We know that this is rho1 into dv1 over r. So this is potential at the site of dv2 due to the charges distributed in the elementary volume dv1. So if we now want to find the potential at this position due to the charges distributed in this entire volume v1, what will be that? That will be simply the integral of this result, because you know integration means summation. Since charge distribution we are assuming continuous, so instead of summation we are taking integration, and so potential at the site of dV2 due to the charge distributed in volume V1. We will write it as phi 2, and this will be simply, you can see this result, this will be integral over V1 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught rho1 dV1 by r. Say this is equation 2. And in similar manner, we can find the total potential created by the charge distributed in this volume V2 at the site of the elementary volume dV1. And similarly, you can say potential at the site of dV1 due to the charge in volume V2. And if I write it as phi 1, So this will be integral over V2 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught rho 2 dV2 by R. This is potential at the site of volume element dV1 due to the charges distributed in volume V2. And now in terms of these potentials, we can express the potential energy of the system which have been defined in equation 1. So now equation 1 can be written as, see this equation 1, you have seen it, and this u can be written as now 1 over 2 integral over v1 rho 1 dv1 and integral over v2 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught rho 2 dv2 by r. You can see this result defined in equation 1, and just I have written it in a particular fashion. Here 1 over 2 integral over v1 rho 1 dv1 have been separated, and integral over v2 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught rho 2 dv2 by r has been associated at one point. And so you can see this is what? See the equation number, in fact 3. You can see equation 3, this equation 3. This integral over v2 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught rho 2 dv2 by r is equal to phi 1. And so if we will use this equation 3 here, what will be our result? Our result will be u equal to 1 over 2 integral over v1 rho 1, and this is actually phi 1 dv1, and here we have used the equation 3 using 3. Actually this integral over v2 has been replaced by phi 1, and again that equation may be arranged in another fashion. You can see u can be written as 1 over 2 integral over v2 rho 2 dv2 and integral over v1 rho 1 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught rho 1 dv1 by r. And you can see equation 2 which I have mentioned above. This is in fact phi 2, and so we can write it u equal to 1 over 2 integral over v2 rho 2 phi 2 dv2. Say this is b, and both of these equations are equation 4. So what we see from these two equations, that is equations 4a and 4b, what you are seeing here. Actually, if in general we consider that phi is the potential and rho is the charge density and the charge is distributed in a volume V, then in general we can write these equations defined in equation 4a and 4b by simply replacing this v1 v2 by v and rho 1 rho 2 by simply rho and phi 1 phi 2 by simply phi. And so you can write, so thus in general, if phi is the potential and rho is the charge density, means volume charge density, then potential energy of the system is given as, we can write it simply as 1/2 integral over V rho phi dV. Actually, this is the general expression for energy distributed in the electric field in terms of electric potential, and say this is equation A. So after finding this general expression for the energy distributed in electric field, now we will find the energy density in this electric field. And you know, energy density means energy distributed in unit volume. So now our purpose is to find the expression for energy density. In fact, starting from this equation, we will find the energy density. Now let us consider the volume V is bounded by a closed surface S, and in this region actually the electric field is developed, or electric field is produced by free charges only. These are in fact free charges, and in previous lecture I have defined the free charge. Free charge is also called extraneous charge, that is, it is not the charge which of the body of the dielectric. It is not associated with that. This is charge externally put up on the dielectric, and we consider here these charges are free charges and not the bond charges. And so in this condition, if we will define the energy of the energy in electric field from equation 1, in that condition we will simply replace this rho by density of free charges. So if we consider, if we assume that the electric field is due to a system of free charges, mark it, this is due to a system of free charges of density rho f, f for free, confined in a volume V bounded by a closed surface S. Closed surface S. In fact, then A can be written as, the result defined in A, we can now write it in this way. A can be written as, how we will write in this condition, that equation A, you can write it as simply u equal to 1 over 2 integral over v phi into rho f dv, and say this is equation 5. This is equation 5. Now, we have learnt Gauss law for the electric displacement vector both in integral form and in the differential form. And you know the differential form of Gauss law for electric displacement vector D is what? So, according to Gauss law for vector D, you know divergence of D, which is equivalently written as del dot D, this is equal to what? This equal to rho f. This is actually Gauss law for D vector in microscopic form or in differential form, you know it. And so let us use this result in equation 5. So therefore we can write u equal to 1 over 2 integral over v phi into rho f. And what is rho f? Rho f is equal to divergence of D. So we can write it del dot D. From Gauss law, you can write it in this way. And say this is equation 6. Now, we can evaluate this phi into divergence of D by using a proper vector identity. A vector identity you must learnt in vector calculus, a vector identity which actually will be used here. We know that divergence of the product of a scalar function with a vector function is equal to what? This vector identity is actually equal to phi del dot A plus del phi, that is gradient of phi dot A. And from here you can find phi into divergence of A. What will be this? This will be del dot phi A minus del phi dot A. And see this result. Here only difference is what? The difference is only that here in our equation there is the vector D instead of A. So replacing this A by vector D, we can write this phi into del dot D equal to this much. Only we have to put D instead of A. So see this separately. I am just writing in another page. You can see. So we can write u equal to, what will be u? This will be in fact 1 over 2 integral over v del dot phi d, del dot phi d minus del phi dot d, del phi dot d dv. And you can impose the integral on separately on both terms. So we may write it as 1 over 2 integral over V del dot phi d dv minus 1 over 2 integral over V del phi dot d dv. We can write this expression for you in this way and say this will be what? Equation number, this will be 7. Say this is equation 7. Now, this volume integral is what? This is actually volume integral of divergence of a vector function phi into d. And you know, we can in fact change this volume integral into the normal surface integral by the use of Gauss's divergence theorem. So from Gauss's divergence theorem, we can write what? Integral over V divergence of phi d dv will be equal to what? This is integral over the closed surface S phi d dot ds. This is just the statement of Gauss's divergence theorem. And so let us make the use of this result in equation 7, and therefore we can write u equal to what? This will be 1 over 2 integral over S phi d dot ds minus 1 over 2, see this equation 7, integral over V del phi dot d dv. Say this is equation 8. Now we know if phi is the electric potential, or you may say electrostatic potential, then the electrostatic field E is simply equal to the negative gradient of the electrostatic potential phi. So since we know the electrostatic field E is equal to what? This is minus del phi, that is negative of the gradient of phi. And so making use of this result here in equation 8, our equation 8 will be what? You can write it, see this equation seriously. I am just writing it in another page. Here minus del phi will be replaced by simply E. And so the first term will remain same, and the second term will become plus half E dot d dv integral. And so write this equation, and therefore we can write this u is now equal to 1 over 2 integral over S phi d dot ds and plus 1 over 2 integral over V E dot d dv, and this will be equation 9. So finally we have obtained the expression for the potential energy in general. Now in fact our aim is to find this first integral or first term in RHS of equation 9. Let us see, we have assumed that there is a closed surface S which encloses a volume V, and our charge is distributed in this volume V. It means charge distribution is in a finite volume V. Now let us consider the charge distribution remains same, but our surface S is extending. It is increasing. Let us say now this is the closed surface. We extend this in this manner. It is continuously increasing, but charge is distributed in this volume V. As we know, since charge is distributed in volume V, so outside of this volume V there is no charge distribution, and if there is no charge distributed in this region, so there is no charge, and you know in the region where there is no charge we can apply in fact the Laplace equation. You can see the region beyond V contains no charge. Contains no charge. So in this region we can use Laplace equation, and I have already dealt the boundary value problem. In boundary value problem, Laplace equation I have discussed. So you know the Laplace equation is valid in the region where there is no charge distribution, and here charge is distributed only in volume V. So beyond this region V there is no charge distribution, and in that region we can apply Laplace equation. And so in this region, so in that region means region beyond the volume V, what will be the equation? That will be del square phi equal to 0. And this result del square phi equal to 0 actually implies that if the integrals, if we will see the integral in this in the first term of equation 9, this will be not in fact altered if we extend the limit of the volume of integration to any larger volume. And you can say the surface may be of infinite dimension, even that this volume integral will not change. So this implies the value of the integrals volume of the integrals will not alter, will not change, you can say, if we extend the limit of volume integral to any larger volume, and surface, any larger surface. It means if we consider that the surface S is in fact infinitely separated from the volume charge distribution in V, even then the volume integral will not change, because you know in fact the region beyond the volume V del square phi is equal to 0. Now you can see here If we consider that the surface S is infinitely large and is at infinitely separated from the volume V, in that condition, let us see what will be the integral in the first integral in RHS of the previous equation. That is what will be the surface integral. We in fact want to check it. So we know the potential function phi is actually inversely proportional to R. And again, E or D, both are in fact inversely proportional to R square. And the surface area, S is the surface area, this will have a dimension of length square, so it is proportional to R square. And therefore, you can say this product phi d dot ds will be in fact this will vary in accordance with 1 over r into 1 over r square into r square. It means it will vary in accordance with 1 over r. And so when you extend the surface S to infinity, it means you consider that R is tending towards infinity. Then this 1 over R will tend to 0, and this implies phi d dot ds actually tends to 0. And so the first integral, that is the surface integral in our equation 9, the first integral will vanish. In fact, this fact can be explained in other manner too. When you consider that the surface S is infinitely separated from the source of charges, then we can say the field produced by the source, that is the charge, cannot reach to the surface S in any finite time, and hence this surface integral will be 0 when we consider the volume V as all space. So in this condition, equation 9 will become, what will be this? First integral will be in fact 0, and so u will be actually equal to 1 over 2 integral all space and E dot d dv. This is the most important result to which I have derived here. Actually, this is the expression for the electrostatic energy distributed in the electric field. And this is 1 over 2 integral over all space E dot d dv. Now, we have calculated the expression for the energy in electric field. Now we can easily calculate the energy density, that is energy distributed in unit volume. So for this, let us consider, let this small u is energy density in electric field, or you may say it electric energy density. And when you say this is electric energy density or energy density, it means this is electric energy per unit volume, And so if we want to find the total energy in the given volume or in the same volume, then you can say then energy in the same volume of the field U equal to actually U into dV. This will be actually the energy content in volume dV, and when we will integrate it for the total volume, here we are considering the all space, then we will get the total energy. And so we can define it in this way: U equal to U into dV is integral for all space. And let us say this is equation C. Now we have defined the energy distributed in electric field in equation B and in equation C. See this equation B. In fact, equation C is defined in terms of the energy density. So you can compare these two results, and after comparison we can easily find the expression for energy density. So comparing B and C, we can see that integral all space U dV is equal to 1 over 2 integral over all space E dot D dV. And so you can see this U will be what? This is half E dot D. And you know, in case of a linear dielectric, this D is actually equal to epsilon into E. And so we can write it 1 over 2 epsilon E dot E. And therefore, and this is half epsilon E square. So this is the expression for the energy density in electric field, or you can say electric energy density. Remember, we have calculated this result in fact in case of a static field, that is electrostatic field, but this result is valid even when this electric field is not stationary but it is space and time dependent. Even then expression remains same. So this is all about the energy in electric field.